CA സമരം, JNU അട്രോസിറ്റി സമരം എന്നിവയിലെ മുൻനിര പോരാളിയും നിലവിലെ SFI ഡൽഹി സംസ്ഥാന ഘടകത്തിന്റെ അധ്യക്ഷയും കൂടിയായ ഐഷി ഘോഷാണ് ഇന്ന് നമ്മളോട് സംവദിക്കാൻ എത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. ജനാധിപത്യത്തിന് ഭരണകൂടം തന്നെ ശത്രുക്കളാകുന്ന ഇന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് ഇന്ത്യയിലെ തന്നെ ഏറ്റവും കരുത്തൊട്ട വിദ്യാർത്ഥി നേതാക്കളിൽ ഒരാളായ ഐഷി ഘോഷിനോട് ചോദിച്ചിട്ട് തന്നെ കാര്യം. Welcome to T21. So, Modi government is turning into its 9th year. So, the education system is the biggest disastrous thing they have implemented in all over India. So, what do you think about that?
So, in the past 9 years and the 2 terms that the BJP government is there in the central government, it is continuously trying to reframe how education system inside this country has been. Whether we see that the policies that have been taken at the central level by the BJP government has been one that centralizes education. The federal structure within education has been taken away. If we see that the state power in education, intervening in education, the syllabus in different states, that has been tried to be centralized. If we see more and more commercialization of education has started, and the communalization of education that we are recently have been seeing through the state machinery. Now the point is commercialization of education started post 1990s, but now it is happening fully controlled under the state mechanisms, and with the advent of the new education policy which has come as a draft in 2019 and passed in 2020, we have seen that there is a consolidation that how corporates will have a larger role in public funded education, and public funded education will be done away with more privatized form of education.
Like BJP government implements a new education system as a big thing that may change India. Like they themselves proclaims that this education system will change India, but that makes no difference in the education system that has been no difference in the in providing education for the poor or for the needy. So how do you see that?
So the idea of BJP education is that they want to educate the youngsters, the younger generation, according to their ideological bent, where they want to teach the students that Savarkar is a hero, where they don't want to tell the students about the contribution of that of Bhagat Singh, that of Savitribai Phule, that of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, that of Mahatma Gandhi. They want to erase this historical struggles that has happened inside this country. And as we have seen in the history, that RSS or the people who were associated with the RSS, the kind of history they had, the assassination of Gandhi was led by Godse. Such people are being celebrated at this moment by the people in power. Now the point is, what is the idea of education? The idea of education, according to the context of India or in any society, should be to empower people. It should be a tool to make sure that people are educated. That is the idea that Baba Saheb Ambedkar saw. That is the idea that Jyotiba Phule, Savitribai Phule saw. But what BJP is trying to do is, they are wanting to alter the idea of education. They want education as a tool so that they can safeguard their idea of Hindutva regime that they want, the communal divisive politics. So the education that has been given at this moment is communal. It is divisive. It is teaching students to be more and more irrational. The idea of education that should be in India should be more rational, scientific, which is against the idea of BJP itself at this moment.
Okay, so how do you think SFI being the biggest student movement right now in India, how do you think that they can make a change in all these things?
SFI has a very important role to play at this context, and has always, historically we see, whenever there has been an assault on education, whether it has been the commercialization of education, when fee hikes have happened not only at the central university but state universities and colleges or any educational institution including schools, if communalization of education has happened, if we remember in Karnataka, when students were refused to be served with food, midday meals and all, SFI was one of those organizations to protest against something like that and demand for midday meals in school, so that students have access to midday meals and several other things. At this moment, SFI has a role within the society to tell students that what is happening, how syllabus are being changed, are not for the good for the students. A biased understanding of history is being put inside the mind of the students, how a point of culture is being brought which is only trying to impart hate among the youth, are bringing divisiveness, are trying to bring a very society where people will be only reduced to their identity. So SFI has not only a responsibility to organize students, but also to educate students that why they should get organized at this moment, why it is important for all of us to have access to scientific education and public funded education.
Okay, so coming to the new parliament inauguration, like Modi has announced that he is making a new India with the inauguration of this new parliament. So do you think this new India may be one that erases democracy from, like, which is the basic nature of this country itself?
It has started already. It has already started that erasing of democracy is being done. Dissent is being curbed. If students, youth, women, people coming from the marginalized community, the farmers, the youth and workers, whoever has been protesting in the last 9 years against this government's policies have been branded as anti-nationals. So the BJP somewhere is trying to portray that if anyone is against the BJP or the policies of the government are against the idea of our country. But that is not actually the idea. A lot of the farmers, a lot of the workers, and all of this community who were protesting, they wanted to safeguard the basic idea of democracy. They wanted to say if something is not good for the community, we should stand against it. We should tell the government to correct it because it is not for the people. Also simultaneously, a very important thing that we saw in the inauguration of the parliament, that the parliament is something that represents people's voices, and people were missing. If we see, it was a certain people who reflected, whose own idea or the ideological bent is there, was to be represented. At the same time, this parliament was built in the time of pandemic, when people were not getting oxygen cylinders, they were going through crises. Thousands of migrant workers were not having even access to wages, food, basic needs. We saw parliament coming up. This is not a pride of our country. If our people are not represented in a parliament, that parliament can't be that of the people's. And at the same time, we are seeing yesterday when the parliament was being inaugurated, on one side where the Prime Minister was saying, if I may quote his speech, that we have a tradition of democracy. At the same time, we were seeing on the opposite side of the street, our wrestlers who are protesting from the last more than 30 days were assaulted, were beaten up for speaking up against sexual harassment. So this can't be the tradition, and this has never been the tradition of our country. So with the advent of the new parliament, it is only reflecting the idea of the people who want a Hindutva regime inside this country, and not for the secular ethos of our country.
Like as you just said, the proud wrestlers of India is like struggling in the streets for just for living in a dignified life. So how can a student movement help in this? Like help them live their life as the dignified way they deserves.
It is very, very important for SFI and other student organization, progressive movement, student organizations to not only extend their support to the protesting wrestlers, but all of these wrestlers that we see today have been every point of our time models for a lot of students. We have looked up to them because it's not easy in sports to go and win medals for your country. We know that the country that we belong to, there is not of funds. A lot of people are having to go through a lot of struggles when they are reaching somewhere, and internationally getting medals for this country. It takes a lot of hard work. And if you're a woman out of that, it takes more and more challenges. So when our women are saying that their environment is not safe, that is not encouraging them to take up sports, we should really think as a country that if our women wrestlers are saying that they are for the sports, they want the country to bring more medals, but their environment is something which is not helping them. They are speaking against sexual harassment, and it's more than months. It was initially they sat for protest, they concluded their protest, again they have sat for protest. So we should think as a country that how we are failing our girls, how are we failing? Because as students, we also demand that gender sensitization bodies should be there in our universities and college campuses. So their fight and our fight is something not different. It is same, and we that's why extend the solidarity, and we should fight for it.
So how do you think Kerala becomes an alternative for all these problems mentioned before?
So the BJP at this moment is trying to say in this country that they are trying to bring a slogan that is New India. They are saying that the only alternative inside this country is that of the alternative by the BJP. But in that New India, we are seeing that there has been continuous assault on the workers, the farmers, the women, the people coming from the marginalized, the student, the youth. At the same time, if we see in Kerala, the Left Democratic Front government has given a slogan of Never Kerala, where we are trying to see that when they are talking about a new Kerala, how they are stressing on the fact that the people-centric policies is something that should be the alternative inside the society. And Kerala has proved this time and again that if an alternative is sought, that is possible only if people's alternative is kept. If we see during the pandemic, Kerala, the government in Kerala, the health ministry of Kerala has been lauded because of its positive response to how they have been able to handle the pandemic. And not only the pandemic during COVID, if we see during the Nipah virus times and several other situations, Kerala has given people that if governments want, they can show an alternative. If we see about the wages inside Kerala, the farmers' issues, Kerala and the government here has continuously been intervening with policies which can strengthen people. If we see the Kudumbashree and several other sectors inside Kerala, they have been continuously trying to empower people. But in the alternative, if we see across the country, which is led by the BJP, what is happening is it's more and more trying to take away the employments. It's not making policies which builds the people at the thing. Somewhere there is a total support for the corporates, if we see. So that's why Kerala has provided an alternative to this country, not only during the pandemic, but else outside pandemic also, that if governments want, people-centric policies can be taken and positive society, progressive, social just societies can be built.
So thank you for spending this much time to T21.
Thank you.